Welcome back to my channel, Famous and Fabulous. Renowned actor Sean Connery is renowned for being the first actor to play James Bond, and he proceeded to appear in the upcoming 7 episodes of the movie. But lately, certain details regarding his life has come to light, which has stunned his devoted followers. Let's take exploring the known and unknown in depth. Sean Connery's life was shaped in part by Connery Thomas Sean at the Royal Edinburgh, Scotland's maternity hospital. He was given the name on August 25, 1930, after his parents' paternal grandpa Neil. His brother, soon after their Joseph Connery, a manufacturing worker, was his father. Employee, L driver, and their mum was McBain, Euphemia. A cleaner Connery possessed a Christian faith and was of Scottish heritage, ancestry, and was Roman Catholic. He and his Protestant mother and father, 76, is where his brother grew up. Fountain Bridge has been demolished. As Connery, the block has been destroyed, was quite tiny in elementary school, nevertheless grew quickly, reaching a height of 6'2" by the age of 18. As a result of his history and his parents' financial situation, Connery's problems prevented him from having a formal. He ceased his education at the 9 years old and had to begin working to assist in supporting the family, his first. When I was younger, I worked as a milkman with Stein, 2009. Cuthbert's Cooperative Society. Connery remembered a discussion in a taxi when I just rode one during the Edinburgh Film Festival. The driver was astounded by my ability to place anime of each street we went by, and why he inquired, "I used to deliver milk as a boy." Here around 1946, just after World War I, Connery decided to enlist in World War II. While he was in the Royal Navy, obtained 2 noteworthy tattoos, which were crucial to consider, as said on his official website, in contrast to many tattoos, were serious, as evidenced by his tattoos. 2 of his enduring pledges are one tattoo of Scotland and family, is honours his parents, and it reads M, and the other is self-explanatory, as is Dad. He trained in Scotland forever. At the Naval Gunner School in Portsmouth, and he was in an anti-aircraft crew, subsequently promoted to the position of capable seaman Connery, but on HMS Formidable, in 1949 was released from duty because he was diagnosed with medical difficulties. Duodenal ulceration is a generational sickness that males typically contract within the household following his release. He went back to, in his spare time, he performed many kinds of jobs to supplement their income, from working as a driver of a truck to a lifeguard, at Portobello swimming pools while working, and as a model for an artist for the. He was a coffin at Edinburgh College of Art. Polisher for some time before proceeding to various occupations, but pursuing modelling was successful at the time, because the artist Richard was paid 15 shillings per hour. At the time, DeMarco was a student who created a number of early images of Connery. Said he was quite straight, too pretty for words, a little too shy. He started creating his own virtual Adonis. Body in 1951 when he was 18. Trained in an old gym under Ellington. He once served as a British Army instructor, ran for the title of Mr. Universe through the precise year changes depending on the report. According to Connor's official website, he competed in 1950 and came in 3rd. Sources. He ran for office in 1953 and unable to place 3rd in the junior class to participate in the tall man classification fraud, was quickly dissuaded. Due to the fact that he regularly lost the competition to Americans because of their size and strength, he grumbled, stated they would refrain from taking part in like he would in sports, which would result in their loss of muscle mass. And he genuinely loved football and had as a child. He performed for Bonnie Rig Rose, was given the opportunity to play with East F, and he participated in a local match while on tour versus a squad led by Matt Busby, a previous Manchester United. Manager State Busby was impressed with the report. His strength and provided Connery a contract equivalent to £25 per week to £882 in 2023, just after the gaming remembers. I came to the realization that a world-class football player could be over the hill by the time I was 30, and I had already, 23, I made the decision to pursue acting, and it proved to be among my more clever actions at first glance. Helped behind the scenes at the King's Theatre at the end of 1951 to support his earnings from a bodybuilding contest arranged in London in 1953. One of the rivals stated that there were open auditions for a South Pacific output, where Connery was given a minor role as one of the chorus boys of the CB. When the show arrived in Edinburgh, he was handed the CPL Hamilton Steves, a Marine, and was observed examining two of the young leads, and his compensation increased from 10 shillings a week, from £2 to £14. The following was the output of the production. Year out of Connery and public demand, was elevated to the prominent position of Buzz Adams, Lieutenant, and Larry Hagman has performed in West End productions, while Connery stayed while filming the movie. He was the target of the Valdor in Edinburgh. One of the most well-known gangs in the city, when he was initially assaulted, was in a pool hall by them, where he prevented his jacket from being stolen. On his way home, he exited the hallway and was pursued by 6 gang members, covertly illuminate them to a height of 15 feet. He was on the balcony at the Palais de There. Independently initiated an assault during the gang members' attempt to capture one by the biceps and another by the throat, and after that, they both cracked their heads together. Struggle. He received excellent treatment from Ed Dont, earned the gang's respect and a reputation as a tough guy during that time of the Opera House's production in This Was in Manchester during Christmas. In 1954, Connery became interested in theatre with the assistance of an American Robert Henderson, an actor. Robert lent confirmation copies of Ibsen's works When We Die and Gabler the Wild Duck. He also urged him to study after waking up. Writings by well-known authors such as P.R. Tolstoy, Robert, Joyce Shakespeare, and a few others urged him to enroll in speaking classes, and even assisted him in obtaining parts at the London's Marv Vale Theatre. He was an extra on the first shoot. In the 1954 musical Lilacs by Herbert Wilcox, along with Errol Flynn in the Spring. And even though Connery had enlisted Anna Neagle, he wasn't financially secure as an extra and had to look after journalist Peter's children, Marianne, an actress, and Noble as a couple. He received 10 shills as a part-time babysitter. On a fateful night when Connery met Shelley Winters, a Hollywood actress, as she characterized Connery's home as among the tallest, most endearing, and she has never seen a more macho Scotsman, and thereafter spent a lot of nights with the brothers Connery sipping beer. Connery was living with TV host Lou Gardner's residence during this time. Robert proved to be a true buddy, and Connery's assistant, who assisted him in landing a part in a Q theatre that pays £6 per week, Agatha Christie's witness production, for the prosecution, wherein he met and made acquaintances. This role, alongside compatriot Scott Ian Bannon Point of Departure, came next. In A, who played the part of Pentheus at Q, in the bakery across from Yvonne Mitchell at Oxford Playhouse, and an opposing role in the play Anna by Eugene O'Neill. Jill Bennett Christie, while attending the Oxford A, brief role as a boxer, was obtained by Theatre in the Square Ring on television, before being led by a Canadian filmmaker, Alvin Roth. Alvin assigned him several parts in the film The Condemned, which was released on location in 1956. Connery, Dover, Kent participated in the stage adaptation of Epitaph and served as a minor, the Ladies of the Manor's Hoodleman episode of the police show on BBC television series Dixon of Dock Green, which made it possible for him to do little roles on television. In Fortune's Sailor and The Jack Benny Show, a unique episode that was shot in Connor's breakthrough in Europe, was his portrayal of James Bond, the British secret agent. He was unwilling to commit to a movie series, but realized that if his career were to prosper, it would significantly gain from Dana Broccoli, the wife of Albert Cubby Broccoli Connery. Producer was successful in landing the position that would alter his career, according to reports that it was she who convinced her. Connery was the ideal husband. Select the character's creator, Ian Fleming, James Bond, questioned Connor's, claiming that he is not what I imagined. James Bond's appearance and Commander Bond is what I'm searching for, not a stuntman who was oversized, added that Connery has 62 muscle, and Scott was unpolished, but with the help of his Blanche Blackwell, his lover, informed him Connery possessed the necessary sexual charisma. Fleming had second thoughts after The Prosperous Physician was not premiere. He authored Connor's heritage because he was so amazed. Into You, the character from his 1964 book. Fleming only penned that Bond in live twice. His father was from Glen County, Scotland. The Highlands of Scotland from 1962 to Connery played 007 in Dr. No from in 1967. Love Goldfinger Thunderball in Russia and You only had 2 of the first 5 with live. Bond movies from Eon Productions after leaving the position. Connery came back for Diamonds, the 7th movie. Are Always in Connery made his last appearance in 1971 in Never Say Never Again and 1983 as Bonjack developed the Thunderball remake. All 7 of Schwartzman's Talia flicks, James Bond films, were commercially successful. Connery's portrayal was chosen as the 3rd greatest movie character. The American Film Institute's history. He owes a lot for his outstanding Bond performance to the director's stylistic instruction, Terence Young, who assisted in refining him, utilizing his physical attributes, grace and attendance at the event, Lois Maxwell, who played a game called Miss Moneypenny that Terence raised Sean as his own, took him out to supper and demonstrated how to walk, how to speak, and even how to consume the tutoring was well accepted and successful. Thousands of notes of admiration each week after Dr. No's opening, and he turned into a big sex symbol in the movie following the release of the line Bond James from the 1962 movie Dr. No Bond became a lexicon catchphrase. Among Western popular culture film critics, according to Peter Bradshaw, it's the most renowned self-promotion from any figure in the historical fiction. Film carried it off with cold contempt. Dressed in a long evening gown with his lips were hanging a cigarette, introduction was somewhat of a test or seduction that is obviously directed toward an adversary. Connor's James Bond, in the early 1960s, was rotely as hot and scary as it got on watch. The Thunderball movie being filmed in Connor's life was in jeopardy in 1965 in the sequence. In Emilio, with the Sharks Largo's swimming pool during filming, a Thunderball in Connor's life was in jeopardy in 1965 in Themament in Amello with the Sharks. He was worried about Largo's pool. When he read the screenplay, this threat Connery demanded that Ken Adam construct a unique plexiglass wall within the pool, although this structure wasn't set in stone, and one of the Sharks was able to get through. He was forced to leave the pool because of it. Instantly, even though Bond had turned him into a star, Connery became weary of playing the part, in the franchise's pressure on him, stating that I'm tired of the whole. I have always detested the Bond thing. Damn James Bond. I want to murder him. Connor was close to Michael. Caine. Friends. Caine spoke on the circumstances if he had you as a buddy back then. You didn't bring up Bond, did you? Was and still is a far more talented actor than simply portraying James Bond. But he would be walking in the footsteps of Bond down the street, and individuals would utter, "Look, that was James Bond," really distressing to him, while making the Bond movies funny as well. Appeared in other movies, including Alfred in 1964, Hitchcock's Marnie and the next year, Sidney Lumet's Hill, which Peter Bradshaw, a film reviewer, considers as his top 2 non-Bond images from the mid-1960s. Connery played golf with Scottish people in the 1960s. Ian Maxwell. Stewart is an industrialist. Relationship that provided Connery with the opportunity to oversee and deliver the documentary. The movie The Bowler and the Bunnet. The 1967 movie detailed the Fairfield Try, a novel strategy for industrial interactions that took place at the Fairfield shipbuilding and engineering firm Glasgow during the experiment was started in the 1960s by Stewart, with assistance from George Brown Harold Wilson's initial Secretary Cabinet. In Connor's subsequent films from 1966 included many critical and box office setbacks like The First Night, just because The League of Avengers and The Exceptional Gentleman. However, he obtained favorable evaluations for his performance in tracking down Forrester. He furthermore obtained a Crystal Globe for exceptional contribution to world cinema in terms of art in a Channel 4 survey from the United Kingdom in 2003. They placed Connor 8th on their list of the failure of the 100 greatest cinema actors of the Extraordinary Gentleman's League, was particularly annoying for Connery. While shooting, he felt that the production was failing miserably and declared that the filmmaker Stephen Norrington ought to be imprisoned. For Conanity, Connery spent a lot of endeavour to try to save the movie through the final editing procedure, choosing to give up, acting instead, rather than endure such stress once more. He declined to play Gandalf in According to the Lord of the Rings movies, and did not comprehend the script. According to reports, he received a $30 million US offer, in addition to 15% of the global box receipts from The Office that would have earned $450 million for him. He declined the chance as well. Albus Dumbledore will make an appearance in The Architect in the Harry Potter series, and he recorded the Matrix trilogy in 2005, voices in the From Russia with Love TV series, Terry, a recording producer, in a video game, in the Bahamas. Manning gave his likeness, Connery, expressed his happiness. Electronic Arts, the producers, had contacted him to provide Bond's voice after getting the Lifetime of the American Film Institute Award for Achievement on June 8th. He announced his retirement in 2006 from pretending to be Connor's disappointment with the Hollywood is now producing films with idiots. Described as the rationale behind his choice to, he dismissed speculations that he might retire on June 7, 2007. He would show up in the fourth, According to the Indiana Jones movie. Retirement is 2010 was just too dang fun. Connery's bronze bus artwork was situated outside of Tallinn, Estonia, Scottish club with members that include Aileys, an Estonian Scot, and several in 2012. Scottish expatriates briefly conversed emerged from retirement to express that the main character in the Scottish animation. Sir Billy Connery played the role of executive producer for a larger 80-minute edition. Apart from the camera, fans learned the fact that he backed the Scottish Celtic FC, a football team, has been his father had introduced him to the club. Later in life, a lifelong supporter of the team, Connery changed his allegiance to Celtic's hostile foe Rangers FC after he turned into close companions of the chairman of the team. David Murray loved to play golf. Presented the game to him by his friend Ian Stewart, a professional golfer from England. Connery golf lessons were provided by Peter Allis. Prior to the 1964 James movie's production, the James Bond movie Goldfinger included a scenario in which Bond played golf while Connery Adolph Goldfinger, the gold mogul at the Buckinghamshire Golf Club, Stoke Park record major champion, and Jack Nicklaus, a golf course designer, stated, "He was an avid golfer. Sean was incredibly skilled golfer, and we played meeting on multiple occasions in May 1993. Sean with Jackie Stewart, the renowned driver, assisted me in opening the PG's design." Glenn Eagles's centennial course in Scotland in terms of romantic connections. In the middle of the 1950s, South Pacific Connery production dated Carol Soule, a dark-haired Jewish woman beauty with the physique of a ballerina. But the reason their relationship ended was despite her family's disapproval. He dated Julie Hamilton, the documentary's daughter Jill Craig, a feminist and filmmaker, gave Connor's craggy look and coarse charm. Hamilton first believed he was a terrible individual and wasn't drawn to him, till she caught sight of him in declaring that he was the most. She had never seen anything so lovely. In her life, he was also attracted to each other, with Maxine Daniels, a jazz singer, whom while he was employed at the theatre, he made a glance at her, but she informed him that she was already married and content with a daughter. Connery was wed to Diane, an actress. Salento between 1962 and 1974, however they split up in Jason Joseph, an actor, was born in 1971. The separation of Connery occurred in the early 1970s when he dated Jill St. John and Dean Cannon Carol Mallory, Magda, and Lana Wood. He remarried a French-Moroccan, Konopka. Micheline Rab Brun, a painter, about 1975 prior to his passing. He was an actor outside of likewise well-liked by others for high excellence in additional spheres of his life. He received the honorary title of Shodan. The Queen's first Dan in Kyokushin karatekined him during a ceremony for investment at Edinburgh's Holyrood Palace on July 5, 2000. He received a nomination in 1997 for a knighthood and 1998. Yet, Because of his political beliefs, he was rejected at this level until 2000's achievement. It became simple for Connor's secrets that were revealed in her 2006 Sento's memoirs. One of his love groups claimed that Connery had mistreated her both physically and mentally. While they were dating, he had to postpone a scheduled appearance at the Scottish Parliament in 2006 as a result of scandal surrounding his purported endorsement of the mistreatment of women. He refuted the allegations. Nevertheless, he stated to Playboy magazine, "In I don't believe anything exists in 1965, especially inappropriate to strike a woman. Although I don't advise you to do it in. When you struck a man," he was also said. According to Vanity Fair, in 1993, some ladies take it to the what they're searching for is wire. The final conflict they desire later in 2006. Connery was reported to have smacked. He didn't think that any amount of if mistreating women was ever acceptable under any conditions throughout his marriage. It was disclosed to Michelle that he had an relationship with the songwriter and vocalist Lindsay DePaul in the late 1980s. She subsequently expressed regret for the affair, not because to his marital status, but because to his opinions on domestic violence, besides the contentious position he held regarding the treatment of women. Connery was politically active. His Scottish heritage and his experiences in filming at the shipyards of Glasgow in 1966 motivated him to join the Scottish National Party is a centre-left party. Supporters of Scottish independence, the SNP Connery from the United Kingdom in 2011 claimed that the Bunnet and Bowler were simply the start of an adventure that would resulted in my lengthy affiliation with the. He backed the Scottish National Party, which party both monetarily and through in 1967. He made personal appearances and wrote to the SNP candidate, George Leslie, in the Glasgow Pollock by-election in 1967, stating, "Can you firmly believe that given our resources and abilities that we can more than perform, establishing a thriving